What's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and I have another one of my own requested tops list videos to share with you guys today. And this time I will be going over the top 5 best video games that I think should become movies. Now this list was requested by Mark Main once again, and to jump right into it with number 5, I picked Call of Duty. Now hang on a second, let me explain. Now this is not really more of, I think it's one of the best games out there, so they should make a movie for it. This is strictly from a business decision. The Call of Duty franchise is so popular these days that really making a movie just slapping the name Call of Duty would undoubtedly bring in a lot of people. I mean, people who don't even play Call of Duty know what it is. So I think they'd be a little bit curious to see what this is. Now don't get me wrong, it would most likely be just a stupid film with just a lot of shooting, very little plot, and just just non-stop crazy fun. But the funny thing is we actually have a perfect director for this type of film, and that would be Michael Bay. Michael Bay would really be the perfect director to make a film like this. I mean, a military shooter that runs for an hour and a half to 2 hours with very little story and plot and character development that requires a lot of shooting and explosions. That is right up his alley if you've seen any of his Transformers films. Which is why I find it a little bit weird that he wants to work on a Ghost Recon movie. I mean, if you're going to make a movie, a military-based shooter movie, why not work on the biggest of them all? Now don't get me wrong, I think it would just be kind of a stupid film in general, but I just think just from a business standpoint, I think it's a safe financial property that you could put a lot of money into and get a good amount of profit back. And that's why it's number 5 on this list. And going on into number 4, I picked Infamous. Now, Infamous, in my opinion, was one of the best exclusive titles that came out during the PlayStation 3 era. And I think that making a story around Cole McGrath and him going through this experience of gaining these powers with the ability to absorb electricity and use it in all these unique different ways kind of gives it more of like an X-Men type of feeling, but kind of venturing into your standard superhero movie. Now the thing that really makes the story of Infamous so unique is that you actually get to choose how Cole uses his powers, and so there may be numerous scenarios throughout the film where Cole has to choose to use the powers this way or this way. And it's one of those moments in the movie that are really going to give Cole a lot of depth. And it's really going to show you how the world around him is going to react to him. So it actually does have a very relatable X-Men feeling to it, but on an individual base. So it's really for those reasons that I think that Infamous would make a very interesting movie. And I think it would even be even more awesome if they wanted to go into Infamous 2, which, trust me, that had a lot of really big X-Men references, if you know what I'm talking about. And that's why it's number 4 on this list. Going on to number 3, I picked Dead Space. Now, there's no question that Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 are the only 2 video games in my life that have ever legitimately scared me, but more so with Dead Space. Dead Space is such a rich franchise that has so much depth, it has so much lore to it, that heck, it's already spawned 2 animated films of its own, and I thought they were both done masterfully well. So if they could bring this type of atmosphere and environment to the live action big screen, we would get something very similar to something like Aliens, where you're dealing with an enemy. It's more like a sickness. It's like some type of disease that actually reanimates dead bodies, and they turn to like these ravageous animals, which are called necromorphs. And there's a whole religion that supports it. And Isaac Clarke is thrown in this scenario where he is just completely untrained for this. I mean, he's not even a soldier, yet he ends up being kind of like the main expert when it comes to killing necromorphs. I just think that the entire lore of Dead Space would make for an amazing franchise. I mean, we really don't have anything like that brings like a scary environment. We haven't had something like this, I think, even since Aliens. So to have a science fiction horror genre franchise based off of a video game series, I think would be a phenomenal step in the direction of space horror films. Why they have, I know they've wanted to make a Dead Space movie for a while, but I think they need to get onto it because, heck, I would see that in theaters numerous times, and heck, I might actually get a legitimately good scare, which is something I haven't experienced for a long time. And that's why it's number 3 on this list. Going on into number 2, I picked Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Now, Star Wars The Force Unleashed to me is my favorite Star Wars video game of all time, and the story alone is probably the best story I've seen for a Star Wars media in a long time. I mean, it tells the story of Darth Vader's secret apprentice, and I think it adds the perfect mix of the originals and the prequels to make a perfect balance between the two, which is why I thought the story of Galen Merrick's aka Slash Star Killer is very interesting. I mean, just the overall, how they could film the action and the characters and really see Darth Vader at his prime, you know, before he kind of got all doughy, would be a very fascinating story. I mean, I know that they're planning on doing a lot of Star Wars spin-offs in between the solid episodes that they plan to do year after year for Star Wars, but I really wouldn't mind if they would go back and make a real movie that connects Episode 3 to Episode 4 to kind of show you the events that took place. Like, what was Vader doing outside of just killing Jedi throughout the 20 years between Episodes 3 and 4? I think that would make for a very interesting story that I'm sure a lot of people who don't even play this game would be interested in finding out. And that's why I think it would be a really great movie to make. And that is why it's number 2 on this list. Now, going on to number 1, I picked Bioshock 1. Now, they've been wanting to make a Bioshock movie for so long, and I don't know what the problem is. I mean, maybe it's financial problems, maybe it's the fact that they can't get a good script, but that doesn't change the fact that Bioshock would make a truly phenomenal movie video game. Because the entire world of Rapture and the story and the lore behind it and the characters and the dynamics between your player and the whole mystery and the twist and the action, the big daddies, the little sisters, it's just one of the most creative worlds we've ever had in gaming. And the fact that they haven't really been, I mean, I know they might have been trying, but they really, this really should be shared with a much bigger audience. This has everything that a great, phenomenal film could have. You have characters, you have story, you have twist, you have action, you have mystery, you have suspense, you have environment, you have danger, you have everything that you need to make a truly great movie. There's nothing more else I could say about it. Bioshock would just be the definitive movie video game that I think all other video game based movies would be compared to. And that is why it is number 1 on this list. And with that, those are my top 5 movies that I think should be made from video games, or vice versa. Now tell me, if you guys know any video games that you think would make really great movies, please tell me your list in the comments down below. And if you like this video, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to track me in my future movie, video game reviews, and topic videos like this one. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.